everyone. Another pandemic Wednesday. This is so funny. We are, I don't know how many months, 7 months into all these. And it's incredible that we're still resilient and we are okay and everybody's in their best behavior. And internet is a joy to jump in and see what all the positive messages that everyone is giving to each other. That's the other reality. But I decided to create this platform just exactly to talk about the opposite, to talk about the good of our community, and more so those people within the world of arts that make it all possible. As we know, since COVID came to our lives and landed here on planet Earth, it's been quite a stressful time, more so to those people that are in the world of arts and creativity, including my trade. You guys know that I'm an architect, and this is just an outlet for me to talk to the community. Once again, if you are tuning in, I decided to create this platform to talk to the rest of the community to see what everybody's doing. And more so, my goal is just to talk to the world of arts mostly. And the idea to talk to the world of arts is because they are the ones who are helping us to navigate through these very difficult times. Think about it. Since all this started, you've been listening to music either on your Alexa, or you have, oh my gosh, you heard me, or you that was her, or you are either watching Netflix for hours or broadcasts, and then they're all about the same thing. They're all around the world of arts. So there are producers, musicians, performers, singers, dancers, not only them, but people in the back or back of the house, choreographers, lighting, stage designers, and all that. All those people are in a full stop. And as you know, Gary and myself, my husband, we support the world of arts. So if you're tuning in, this is my personal outlet to talk to the community and see what everybody's doing, so you get informed of what the world of arts is doing. I'm talking to the people that I've talked to. I'm going to show you on my blog. You can follow all these along. So this is my blog, What Would Oscar Do? And then you can trace on my blog all the previous broadcasts, live broadcasts from Oscar Talk. And it's Oscar Talks because I talk, and Oscar Talk because it's my talk. I have an accent. Sorry. That's the way it is. I cannot do anything about that. Well, I could. I have a friend um, that asked that she actually can help me to get rid of my accent, but Gary doesn't want me to. Anyway, that's another conversation. But this is What Would Oscar Do? That's my blog. And then last week we had Sean Daniels from Arizona Theater Company. Actually, I just was texting with him because I'm going to get a hold of a very good friend of mine to sit on a conversation with him and his creative team to talk about a play that is coming up. That we will talk about it in few episodes. And then I have Noche en Blanco, that was a special that I did with Dorina Bustamante and Andy Lusich and Alison Sipes, who are putting together with myself. I'm volunteering once again, being the host of this wonderful outdoor dining experience that cannot happen. It's going to go all live broadcast and virtual. So on Saturday at 5 p.m. I will be with them, and then it's going to be a blast. It's going to be, I think it's 4 hours, complete blast, to help raise funds to for the Hans Park, our beautiful park in front of the Burton Bar Library in downtown Phoenix. You can click on this and you can talk. Also, you can see what I talked about, or about the campaign of Love It, that helps to raise funds for the Phoenix Public Art, Friends of Phoenix Public Art. That's another board that I'm part of. Anyway, you can check there. We had Tim Rogers from Phoenix Art Museum. Everyone wants to know where is the Phoenix Art Museum going, what is going to happen, what is going to happen with the annual gala, et cetera, et cetera. Then I had Carol Poor, incredible conversation. She launched a Love It campaign that day. We have Bob Cooper, we have Naono Iovino from Ballet Arizona, the Feijoada, the Casa Brazil, another nonprofit that is fantastic. This was fantastic. If you missed, sorry, that was the annual Feijoada. It was amazing. And Jennifer McCabe from SMOCA. I have my board meeting coming up. Joe Spector from Arizona Opera, and of course Letitia Fry and Paula Taylor from Arizona Theater Company. I think we're going to talk a little bit about Arizona Opera as we move through the show today. So all these wonderful people, inspiring people within the world of arts, I had conversations with them for more than an hour sometimes. Once again, I don't have any sponsors. I just paid the fee for StreamYard, and I am doing it from the bottom of my heart just to get in front of all the community. What else? Yes, Noche en Blanco. So I wanted to click here. If you click on that link for Noche en Blanco, you will go to the hybrid Noche en Blanco. That's the logo for Hunts Park in downtown Phoenix. And then there's all sorts of the blog post. What it's trying to do is to tell you the background or the information behind the one-on-one conversation and why am I supporting this. It's my world. If you have something that you want to support, and you want me to talk about it here within the world of arts, first within the world of arts, let me know. Look at this. I don't know when are we going to be able to do all this. Doesn't it look fantastic? A bunch of people all together with no masks, no social distancing. Anyway, so that was my good friend Dorina Bustamante, who's going to be my co-host on Sunday. I wore a bow tie for her. Dorina, if you're watching, that was for you. And I was wearing suspenders. But anyway, so here it is nocheenblanco.com, I think is the name. Yeah. You can go to huntspark.org if I'm not wrong. Let me just see if I can. Sorry if I'm scrolling too fast. So that's Andy, Dorina, and myself. I can give you the web page in a minute. Let me just go back here. So humor me with this while I get to the information, because I think this is going to be a blast. We will be having remote hosts right here at Noche Blanco. We will have remote hosts or people that will be hosting their party at their homes, and you can do shout outs and all that stuff. So it's hansparkconservancy.org, and I'm just going to put this on the ticker down below later during the show. So this is my monologue. I try to have an opening segment so we can talk about what is happening in the community. So if you are part of a board within the world of arts, if you are a fan of the world of arts, if you know of any institution that you want me to talk to, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Send me an email, and I'll make sure that I'll put it on the schedule. We have November already full and 2 in December, so I cannot believe I will post here and there on my social media who's coming and what is happening. Anyway, that was it for the previews for the upcoming episodes of this show. But today we have a man that I think is a treasure to Arizona, an incredible talent. And remember that I said that there's a parallel with Arizona Opera. You will find the reason why, because there is something that we're going to be talking about that is very Arizona. And if I tell you that there is a, I believe it's not a movie, I think is um, something within the world of film parallel to this production that is winning awards throughout the country and is representing Arizona throughout the country. Even if we are like we are like COVID, everyone at home, et cetera, et cetera. So I this is the man who's going to make us and walk us through the history of Arizona, and I'm very pleased that he's my guest today. And like I said, he is an Arizona treasure. So this is our guest for today. And that was introduction for a true maestro. This is a man who is a treasure to all of us in Arizona. Maestro, good
Hey,
evening.
Oscar, that was too much fun. I had no idea that was going to happen. Wow.
That's a surprise. That's a surprise to
Ah,
everyone who sits
wow.
in front of me.
It's like I'm something or something.
Oh, you are
uh,
something, believe it or not, and we have to celebrate you in so many ways.
oh,
And this is just basically this is your life type of introduction. I am very pleased that you accepted the invitation to come and sit down with me for whatever hour this is to talk about everything Arizona, everything Maestro, because that's it. It's just Maestro. So, Maestro, tell me about your COVID days since we last spoke. What's happening?
well, at first it was jarring. All things in the arts and the performing arts stopped. It
Mhm.
stopped for my students. I had three who were Broadway bound. One of them was on Broadway, and the
Oh,
all from here, and they stopped. My husband was in the middle of Sondheim on Sondheim with Phoenix Theater, and it stopped. I am pleased to say that writers closed on March 9th. Otherwise, it too would have had to have stopped. So, um, and
oh.
of course, it's extremely jarring for all of us, and particularly all of my colleagues in the performing arts are, we don't know what to do. For ourselves here at home, I think I realized that I was suddenly given the gift of time.
That's a
And
big gift. That's a big gift.
well, in America, we like to, if there's time to do, we tend to fill it. We don't have the leisure time or skills necessarily of the Europeans, although I do covet that. And so, but anyway, and then I began to realize the gift of non-urgency, because
Hmm.
there's always kind of an urgency in trying to meet deadlines, and so we found ourselves being in the middle of March, hiking. We're big hikers, and we found ourselves putting about 30 miles a week on the hiking boots until it got too hot. And we
You guys.
discovered trails in Maricopa County that are spectacular and off the charts, really really great. And we discovered those up in Wickenburg. Went to Sedona a lot. Took driving trips where we could bring our own food to Airbnbs, in places that we could go in one night, so we didn't have to do the hotels. And in some ways, we rediscovered each other too. And so there have been more gifts than travails, I would say.
And I know you really, really love Arizona, like me. I think
Oh my
Arizona
goodness.
is one of the most beautiful states in the country.
Mystical, terrible, gorgeous, amazing, scary. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I know that you guys. Oh, wait a minute! I found this online, so it's like,
Oh no.
"Hi, Maestro, you were in your elements down here."
That
So
was
I'm just gonna go moving on. So, so that was the Maestro, just somewhere in the Grand Canyon, and getting inspired because. I'm sorry, I'm going to call you Maestro. I don't have this ability. I mean, I've met other people, but after I went online and I dig more about your life. Sorry if I said that word dig, and found more about you. I'm impressed by the amount of production that you have and the storytelling that you do through music, lyrics and music is quite incredible. But before I go any further, you mentioned something that I'm thinking about now out loud with you. You lived in Japan for a while. So you said Americans try to fill in our time. So what did you learn from that experience that you are bringing back to this time? Is this Japan? I
no.
believe
This is
this is
Taiwan.
China. This is Taiwan. Yeah, I'm sorry. Ooh, you
That's
don't
okay.
talk
No,
about those things these days. Anyway, so but I
Russ.
know that you live in Asia. Can you tell me if you're bringing anything like that back to your day today?
Well, we were only in Asia for a month. Rusty and I were invited to teach the inaugural class for the Taipei Center for the Performing Arts, which is one of the largest performing arts centers in the world.
Hmm.
And they had an inaugural season where they wanted us to start their classes off there. So Rusty and I were invited to teach over in Taipei, and I don't know what I thought Taiwan was. I When I was growing up, all of my things said "Made in Taiwan," but 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 I found it to be the kindest, most socially responsible, best students ever, for their respect of teachers, their respect of teaching, their work ethic, and mainly their just social kindness to one another. And I found myself lamenting the lack of that in my own country when I returned. It became kind of obvious to me because we were so well treated and so politely respected there. We Rusty and I spent a great deal of time in France and Italy,
Hmm.
and it's kind of that cafe culture that I really like. Taiwan's got a similar kind of thing. They have night markets everywhere, and so everybody's out at night and having festivity and fun. But it's really the kind of cafe culture in Italy and France that I celebrate when.
So my conclusion out of this is respect. I heard the word respect, respect, respect. So do I conclude that that's what you're missing in that you learn there that you wish we had right now?
Well, it's just interesting. Certainly, I am. I guess I was born here. I am a proud American on a number of levels. Certainly, America has given me a great deal of opportunity, and given me a work ethic like nobody's business. But I do find myself sad now for some of the treatment of people by others and the intolerance, and we in the arts don't tend to think that way. It never occurred to me to be non-inclusive. I've worked in groups since growing up, where all colors, all nationalities, all everybody was welcome. So it baffles me mostly because I have no context for it really.
So we are in the same page because, as you will know, I moved here 22 years ago and I became an American citizen. And I'm proud of the country that said hello to me and then, after a while, said, welcome with open arms. So we have something in common and have been we're both Americans. You are born here. I'm naturalized citizen, proudly naturalized citizen. But I think what the commonality here is the word respect, and the fact that you had traveled the world, and you've seen the world with a totally different eye than mine. And with that idea, I wanted to ask you a design question, since you have traveled the world. And as you know, I'm an architect. Yes, Kristen, don't do the shoulder. I can see that you're waiting. So I wanted to ask you one quick question in terms of design. There's some people popping in, by the way. If you see there's a ticker down below that says send us your questions, use the comments option. So there are people sending questions already. I have a bunch of questions. So we'll get to the questions in a little. But I wanted to show you this video of two options, A and B. And it's an interior space, and it's very clear on the video. And I would love to hear from you your personal take on this, and I will use it as part of my research. So take a look. Hmm, hmm.
A, A.
Oh, A? Okay. Tell me the reason why.
Well, I like I thought the second one, the B one, was the black and white, a little too contemporary. I'm not massively into contemporary architecture of that kind. I love the gold and the more elegant curtains. I like and I was raised. I mean, when we were pianists growing up, I was raised on 19th century music, and the A seems a little more old fashioned 19th century to me.
So, okay, so you are a fan of the Plaza Athénée hotel in Paris. So if you're watching actually Emily in Paris, are you watching Emily in Paris?
Did I guess the right one? Do I get to go a free trip to Paris to that
No,
hotel?
no, 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 no,
Okay,
no.
well,
I'm just asking.
okay.
There is a TV show in Netflix called, well, I wish I had sponsors. I'm like, and now I'm gonna send you to Paris, courtesy of Oscar Talks. But I don't think we're there yet. We're
Okay,
just paying $400 a year just to have this platform to talk.
okay.
Actually, 240 to talk to people, and then my time creating the videos, which, by the way, I create them during Sundays afternoons and Saturday mornings and so on. That's what I get the chance to do all the bumpers. But then this is it. This is it for you.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to keep it here. And then you said that because you like the old world, you like the gold tones. And then how about the COVID situation? Was that part of your judgment in all these? Are you anywhere concerned about what is coming?
Um, I tend to be. You mean what's coming ahead of us with this COVID?
What
Uh,
we know, what is coming with COVID or whatever is it that we know today?
well, I am a musical director of Unity of Phoenix, and it's a
Mhm.
pretty liberal church, and they have wonderful messages, but amongst what I have learned from them is that suffering is the field for the need to control, and that is nothing I can control. So I am
Give me that
keeping an
quote
open
again.
mind
I'm going to
to
put it
the.
in the kitchen, in the refrigerator. Give me that quote
Oh
again.
no,
Suffering.
suffering is often born of the need to control. And the one reason I believe that one has the need to control is because one is fearful.
Hmm.
And those are hard things to get around, especially when fear seems to be the primary thing one sees on television these days. And so, but it does take two to do that. It does take one to lay the fear, and it takes one to receive it. And this guy ain't receiving. So I'm gonna just it's going to be what it is, and my job is to roll with the present, you know?
I appreciate so much, first of all, that comment. And second of all, what I just learned. I think it's incredible that I learned this other element and this other quote from you. So, and thank you for answering to the design question.
Sure.
But that's just a break because I want to start visiting your live from from the very beginning as much as we can go back. I just know that you are from Texas, which I love the accent, by
Woo!
the way. I love
Thank
the
you.
accent. I mean,
I'll put it on a little bit more for you.
love it. So please, please be my guest. I love it. So, but what I want to do is perhaps go through these bumper, and then we can talk all about the early years. This is called the wonderful years. Check this out. And that's the entry to, or the opening of the wonderful years.
Wow.
I saw mustache. I mean, the mustache, very 70s. I love it.
I know, right? Oh.
When was that?
I think I had that. I'm trying to figure out when I shaved it. I had up it in through the '90s, I think. Yeah.
God, it was. I'm just like I'm watching. I would say something perhaps the gay culture people will not understand. Is one word starts with H, ends with O, and my gay friends will know what's happening. Am I wrong or am I right on that assessment?
Well, everybody was riding, everybody was wearing them in those days, and I didn't really have enough hair to grow them, but no one had the kindness to tell me that. So
But excuse me, sir, you look quite the star, the movie star. It's like Marlboro altogether. With
nothing that mustache wax doesn't help a little bit.
tell me about this picture. When was this, and where were you?
I was in San Jose, California at that time. I
Hmm.
lived there from 1991 to 2005, and actually, my husband and I met in 1995, and we bought the house here in Scottsdale because I knew that the land in California moves north, but the houses don't. And so I, and so he and I went back and forth between San Jose, California, and here, and actually lived not under the same roof permanently until 10 years after our meeting.
Wow, I love the fact that my relationship with Gary, we've been together for 13 years, five legally married, and it's just for us, it's a joy. We're going on six, puppy. Oh, huh? Yes, Papi said yes. Papi's downstairs painting. But that's Gary. That's my husband. For all of you that don't know, that my husband, I call him Papi for
Rough.
domestic reasons. Domestic reasons. We don't want to go there. But anyway, I just wanted to find more about you during the early years. You traveled the world. You lived abroad. What took you abroad? What happened?
My first sojourn abroad was for about 6 weeks in when I was 16 years old, and got to go to Germany to study German.
Oh.
Actually, Austria to study German, and
Hmm.
then following that, I shortly thereafter, I joined the Houston Opera Studio, and which is Carlisle Floyd, how I met him with the hoop fell out
That's,
here,
yeah, that's fine.
who was my mentor,
Hmm.
and joined the Houston Opera Studio, and then studied a university at the University of Nice for one summer in French, and University of Pisa Viareggio in Italian one summer, and
Prego.
and so and those were basically the Italian languages. And I had a wonderful coaching teacher, Craig Rutenberg, and I just kind of learned the craft from there up. It was Carlisle's wish that if I was going to write for the theater, that I be involved with it from the ground up, from playing for rehearsals, learning opera scores, and I really thought I was going to be an opera composer. Um,
So, I mean, you knew from the very beginning, as I read your bio, by the way, that is on your website. I read that you went to performance when you were young, and then you fell in love with it, and that's how you created the line of your life. You knew that that's what you wanted
I
to
think
do.
many of us in the arts, I would venture to say 95% of us,
Mhm.
saw something that changed our perspective. My parents, when I was very young, and they were, Dad was a machinist at Monsanto Chemical Company, and my mother, went back and got her degree when I was 13, and then became president of just a couple of Chase banks. But before then, we didn't have a lot of money growing up. We had plenty, but we didn't have a lot of that. But they saw to it to take me to Fort Worth to the Casa Manana in its great days, when we got to see Debbie Reynolds and Harp Fresnel do Unsinkable Molly Brown, or I got to see Richard Harris and Julie Andrews do Camelot.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
And that was, during those touring shows. That Houston didn't really, we had Houston Music Theater, but it wasn't the theater up there. So we would take the joy, and of course that was right next to Six Flags Over Texas. So you could play you could play it, if you were a kid. That was great.
So that was your enjoy. I mean, you're the third person within the world of arts that I talked to that they say, "Oh, I knew it." The first time that I saw theater in the case of Sean Daniels, he said, "Oh my God, my parents took me to theater, and that's it. I knew that's what I wanted to do, but I didn't know what part of the theater he wanted to do." In your case, you knew you wanted to be a composer.
Well, and I thought, and my training in piano was classical, and then I saw my first opera, Aida, at 13, and then I saw Of Mice and Men, which at 17, which changed my life. That's written by Carlisle Floyd, and I thought, I want to do that, and I want to study with him.
So
So
this is Carlisle Floyd right here
yeah.
in the picture on your website. Tell me how is the work with someone of that magnitude, someone who basically had written part of the history of performance in the United States.
Well, it was scary at first. He accepted two students, and I was one of them. And of course, the longer I studied, the more I wondered why I was one of those. Um, in his kind Southern gentlemanly way, he's from South Carolina. In his kind way, he would say, "Well, Craig, I think we've not quite arrived yet. Perhaps you should start from square one." And that would be after I'd been working on a piece for 6 months.
Oh
So,
wow!
and
Is that
so
what they say? Bless your heart. Sorry, I
you
don't
can
want to
say,
say that.
no, you can say bless your heart.
Okay, got it. I just don't know. I have
In
to
the
ask the
South,
question.
that has many meanings. It can have bless your heart or bless your heart.
Thank you for that. I have to. I would use it at the grocery store and other places. But
Uh-huh.
go ahead, tell me more about him.
Well, and then he basically guided me, and he steered me into the Houston Grand Opera, and then I was invited to go to the Banff Center in Canada,
Oh, wow.
where I was a composer in residence there, and again I was conducting opera, and then I became musical director for three winters there after that, and my third winter, so Banff 4 years off and on.
Wow.
My fourth year, I met this woman, Marianne Adler, and she chased me down and said she had these lyrics in her head, and lyrics, for musicals. I wasn't writing musicals.
Yeah.
And so she chased me down, and we wrote what were to be the first two songs of Gunmetal Blues. And then that was my very first musical ever. And the Stratford Festival in Canada offered us a grant to come and workshop it there. So I went to Stratford for 6 weeks. I met her husband, who was to be our book writer, the day I arrived at their house to stay for 6 weeks.
So you know that I didn't know. I read through your bio once again that this was your first opera. I mean, that young. I mean, I have to admit that,
No, no,
first
first
musical.
musical,
Sorry, your first musical,
first
the first
musical.
musical, and then
Yeah,
I mean, your production started really early, and this is the San Diego premiere of the musical Gunmetal Blues. So this went through
yes,
the
that
country.
was. It's had about, I want to say at this point, about 400 productions that I know of. It's been off Broadway. It was in London November, 2 years ago, this November. So
Wow.
I keep pulling this thing out of my ear. All right, here we go
That's
again.
fine. That's fine. Imagine ladies with long earrings. It happens all the time. But yeah, exactly. Don't worry about it. We know what's going on backstage, front stage. Don't worry. So this is another picture. Can you walk me through the musical and a little bit of the what is the musical about?
um, well, Buddy Toupee,
Hmm.
it's film noir. So
Okay.
if you like Humphrey Bogart films,
Yep.
it tips its hat straight to those. And Buddy Toupee is the guy in the middle. He's the cocktail pianist.
Hmm.
And Sam Galahad is the guy on the right. He's the detective. And then the woman on the left is the blonde. And they all Buddy and the blonde plays 4 roles. Buddy plays 6 roles, and they do it in the theater by putting on hats and dresses and anyway, it's a murder mystery, and you got to figure out which one of those people did it.
But it's not interactive. This is just part
Nope,
of the
it's
plot.
just a play.
And then, but you told me yesterday that that's the way you created different type of characters by just changing the hats, using the same actor, just creating different personas, right?
Yes, and I like what I do like about the theater, as I'm not a film guy really.
Mhm.
I mean, I like films. Don't get me wrong, but I had the door open twice to me in L.A., and both times I chose not to walk through it. I love the idea that on stage, I love watching transformation. I like simple sets, and I like functional costumes, and um, I just love the idea that somebody could put a hat on stage and say there's someone else, and that they are. Or you can put up an umbrella on stage and say it's raining, and it is. If you do that in film, people will go, "No, that's not a different person. That's the same person with a hat." And in a movie, where's the rain? Uh,
So, so that's the magic of creating a persona and creating use the set as an inspiration of, or the black box, let's say, as part of the story, right?
yes, and I just said that's the. I think that's from the London production. That one.
Oh.
Um, yeah, this
Hmm.
is from the London production. No, I'm sorry, that's 1994. So that's from. It may be from our Phoenix when Actors Theater did it. I'm trying to figure out when Actors Theater did it.
Hmm.
Anyway, it was from one of them. 1991 is when it opened here. Michael Barnard directed the uh, uh, the premiere production at Phoenix Little Theater when it was Little Theater.
I have to talk to Michael Barnard. I have to send him an email because I would love to talk to him and
Oh,
have
he's
him here
great.
with us. I
Michael, and at this point, I should say that Michael is been one of my big mentors. Um, he has premiered 5 of my musicals,
and
and
is a collaboration to this type of collaboration and outing. I found this picture.
well,
I'm like,
that's
I'm
actually Michael and Rusty have been friends since I think Rusty was 16 or something like that. And so that's a picture of Rusty really early on, and that was Michael showing that at our reception.
oh my God, this
So
is so funny because I know that your reception took place at the Phoenix Theater here in
yes,
town.
yes, it did.
So that was the story about Gunmetal Blues. There's one of your musicals that I really want to talk about before we talk about the big musical, which is perhaps actually the last thing that Gary and I saw on stage. But I love the three redneck tenors. That is, I mean, I just looked at the pictures. I haven't had a chance to see it because of, I don't know, you cannot find information online about it. And I'm sorry we're not able to play some of the information that you sent me because of the copyrights. But tell me about the three redneck tenors. This is so funny.
Well, so my friend Matthew Lord, it's actually his idea, and he wrote it. And
Okay.
what it is it's well, the three redneck tenors was originally 2 tenors, a baritone, and a bass, of course.
Okay.
Uh, so it was 4 guys, and only 2 were tenors. And of course, there's a whole story that goes behind that. And then There you go. And then they become that's what they become. And Matt, the guy in the middle, is really the creator of the show, and he is an opera singer who's a stemmed up comic. And I mean, he sang at the Met. He's sung all over the world. He's done world premieres
Um,
everywhere in Vienna, and but he was tired of doing that. He wanted to do something where he could be home with his wife and kids. So he called me and he says, "Why don't you do these kick-ass arrangements for this ensemble?" And he says, "And we'll do these uh, that they're pretty outrageous arrangements because these guys can do anything."
yeah, I can
And
imagine.
so within 2 weeks of showing it, we had been booked for a national tour. We had no facility,
Oh my God.
no infrastructure, nothing for a national tour, but there we went. And I want to say 13 years later, here we still are. And again, like everything else, it was shut down. But
Oh.
we were the headliners on America's Got Talent about 7 years ago, I would say. And we've been in Vegas at the Luxor Hotel, and we've been uh, all over the place, all
This
over
is
the place.
amazing. I didn't know that this play existed and this musical existed, and I am dying to see it because I just see the whole story and the frame of the story is really, really
And and
funny.
and and again, back to Michael. Michael produced the show at his theater. I think once in the winter and twice in the summer. Yeah, so 3 times.
So basically, this is one of the stories that we're gonna make it happen. Three guys get together. It's like we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna go through this, and I bet you it's funny.
Oh yes. Well, Matt is the funniest man I've ever met. He is the guy in the middle, and he is a stand-up comic who is a opera singer.
But I imagine you need to have these type of groups in order to produce what you want to
Absolutely.
produce. I can
Absolutely.
imagine
You
that.
have the highest quality. I mean, the stuff I write, I would like to say is, I wish it could be simpler. It's just not simple to perform. It's virtuosic. I like watching virtuosity on stage. I think it's
And then
exciting.
that requires talent voices and required
And
sets.
dancers and sets and yeah, things like that. Yeah.
It's like, are you difficult to work with? I'm asking that.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Everybody else is like, I mean, you know what? Um, I was born and raised in a small town. I'm not too
Yep.
far from that mentality.
Yep.
And I'm exacting, but I'd like to think that I'm not difficult to work with at all. For
Yep.
example, when we had our first workshop of Riders of the Purple Sage, I made about 400 changes to the score based on the suggestions from the singers. So,
Oh, yeah, because I know the reason that I ask you this, and that was a very respectful question in a respectful way, because I know that there is um, um, kind of a theatrical tradition that the composer is walking in. My God, I hope I can reach the note and stuff like that. Like everyone gets all like, oh, like a choreographer walks in and you have to get it right. I know this because in my past life I hang out with someone who was a choreographer and it was very very straight very strict, but this is a collaboration, and I want you to walk us through the musical that I am fascinated with, or we're all fascinated, that talks about a story in Arizona, the Riders of the Purple Sage. And I am incredibly proud of the production team that put this together, Arizona Opera, yourself, and a large group of people, because I saw the play, or I saw the opera with Gary March 14th, I think it was, or it was a Sunday, and it was a matinee, and I was like, oh my God.
are you talking about the first time, like in 2017,
No, this
or
one
just
in
this last one?
2020.
Right.
I was out of the country at that time, so I was not able
Yeah,
to
it
see
was
it.
March 9th. This one was March 9th. Yeah.
March 9th, there you go. And it was quite incredible. So, can you walk me through the creation of that masterpiece?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, let me clear up. The musicals are different. Musicals involve more jazz hands and kind of thing.
Correct.
This is an opera, so it's through sung.
Correct. Yep. Okay.
And
So it's
so
all. Thank you for
it's
that
it's
clarification.
it's
Yep.
through sung. Well, I mean, musicals have a book, and
Got it.
they're a little bit more farcical. Rise of the Purple Sage was the very first American, was the headwaters of the American Western in a novel. And
Mm.
then it was written in 1912. Coincidentally, my concept was 2012, the 100th anniversary of the book and the 100th anniversary of Arizona's centennial. It was the Arizona Centennial as well.
Hmm.
So my husband and I were hiking in Payson, and I was in Branson with the three redneck tenors, and I was looking for a project to do, and it started to rain on us, so we went to the Zane Grey Museum, and I'm embarrassed to say I thought he was a visual artist. I didn't know he was a writer. So we go in there, and I go, "Oh wow, he's a writer." So that night I came home and kindled some Zane Grey titles, and found Riders of the Purple Sage. I went, "Oh my gosh, that's a sexy title somehow." And so I started reading it, and I went, "Boy, if Verdi were alive, he would write this. This is the kind of story he would write." And then I thought, maybe I'll write this. But I hadn't written an opera I hadn't written anything for the stage classically 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Wow.
so I just started to write it. I called my best pal Steve, and we started to. And actually, Steve and I had written The Quiltmaker's Gift for Phoenix Theater,
Okay.
Unstoppable Me for Phoenix Theater, and we're working on another musical which was on its way until everything got shut down.
Hmm.
So um, and so I started to write Riders of the Purple Sage, and the word got out, and I got a call from Arizona Opera,
Okay.
well, you know the rest.
So I know that we were talking earlier about one of the pieces, and I hope I can do this so we can listen to one of the arias. Um, share with me. I'm going to share with you this wonderful, incredible. Oh, by the way, it has its own web page, and is this one? It's writersopera.com. So you can go and see the production and the intimate um, conversations of how the whole opera came to be. If I'm not wrong, I went through. By the way, the stage, it was incredible.
Well, Ed Mell is America's most famous, living Southwest landscape artist, if not just living landscape artist,
Yeah.
and he lives here.
Hmm.
And you had mentioned earlier the film, and this is the time I need to make a shout out to my dear friend, Kristen Atwell, who made the film. She has won, I want to say, 3 Emmys. Christy, if you're listening, I hope I got that right. And
Yeah.
Writers has won a number of film festivals, and she's
Hmm.
really the one who wanted to do the documentary, and she's also the one that introduced me to Ed.
I have, hold on. This is something is ringing, and I think someone wants to knock in and get in the conversation. I
Okay.
think is, hold on. I think is Kristen herself, right? I
Hi,
think it is Kristen.
Hey.
it's
She
a
is.
surprise.
Hi, honey.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Kristen. This is just fantastic. Thank you for taking the call, for the emails, and all that. Sorry that it took me a while to bounce back and forth. But we were just talking about the documentary, and Craig was giving you a shout out. Can you walk us through a little bit of what is happening currently with the documentary?
Well, Craig had all the information correct. Right now we're on the film festival circuit. We have screenings coming up in Ojai, Coronado Island in California, Lone Star Film Festival in Real East, Texas, so 2 in Texas, Hobnobbin Film Festival in Indiana, and we got into the Sydney International Women's Film Festival. So hopefully lots of opera fans in Sydney, Australia will go and see the film.
So basically, the documentary is just a walkthrough the production of this wonderful, fantastic, Arizona-made, unique, wonderful production, right?
Well, it's a full backstage pass to the artistic process of all of the artists involved with the making of the opera. So not only do we see the intimate design process that Ed Mell took, and Greg Hirsch and Fenlon Lamb and everyone at Arizona Opera did to take Ed's artistic paintings into a 3-dimensional set design. We see Craig and his process with librettist Stephen Mark Cohen, and how those ideas become fleshed out and carried by an orchestra of 53 musicians. We see all of these singers in their process to create character. And we also get to explore Zane Grey's process and look at the way that the Arizona landscape influenced Zane Grey, Ed Mell, and Craig Bohmler?
I bet you I am a fan. I'm going to show one of my favorite images or imagery that is just very clear in my head right now. Is the stampede.
Yeah.
That is incredible. So all of you that have not seen Riders of the Purple Sage, in a part of the opera, an stampede happens, and this is the recreation of the stampede. So you can see all the cows in the background. They move, and you even can see the dust moving through the stage. It is poetic. It is incredible. Congratulations. So we can see how this stampede was created as well. That's part of the documentary.
We focus a little more on the hard sets, but the stampede is a beautiful synthesis of digital video and hard set and stagecraft, and the production team at Arizona Opera really pulled it off beautifully. But you guys were on a roll. We were talking about Craig.
No, this is just great. Because I heard like, oh my God, right? Shout out. Wait a minute, the shadow, she's here. So why not? So I have one quick question. One of the two of you can answer this to me. Is this a picture or is this a drawing or is this a combination of the two with the Ed Mel's production?
That's a picture.
That is a picture taken on a green screen, and Ed Mel's painting is put into the green screen. So that is some Photoshop play right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is incredible. It's just like, it's a painting. You see these, and if you're in Australia and seeing it, you're like, wait a minute, isn't that the Grand Canyon in Arizona? So, right? So it's basically 100% ours.
Now, who doesn't like to see a handsome cowboy against that kind of backdrop?
I'm in.
I'll even wear the chaps. But Kristen, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me. Lovely to see you both.
Thank you so much. Last words from you, Christine. Christy, tell me about what can you tell our beautiful Craig here?
Craig is one of the most generous, talented, lovely, kind, gracious artists that I've ever had the privilege to meet and work with. His ability to say yes and welcome people to this project really laid the groundwork for this to be a major work for our community throughout Arizona. And Oscar, he's a lucky guy to get to talk to you. So thank you for shining a light on him.
And thank you for coming and just giving us these beautiful words. And I will see you in November because you are my guest in November. So stay tuned, everyone. What are you going to wear?
It takes a lot of thought for you, Oscar. I'm working on it.
Thank you so much. Say hello to Dennis, and we'll see you soon.
Lots of love.
Bye,
Cheerio. Bye. So that was just Christine Adwell, which is like helped to create the wonderful visuals and the storyline of Riders of the Purple Sage documentary. So, God, it's all over the world for what she said. Did you know all those details?
Yeah, she keeps us up to date with that. Yeah.
And I know that it takes a lot of people to create this wonderful enterprise. Look at this picture of the amount of people that it takes. How many people there?
I don't know. We'll see. Gosh, Joe would know more than that. Joe is of course the guy, Joe Spector, who runs Arizona Opera. I think you had him on several weeks ago. Joe led the posse home.
Yeah, and I think I have another call coming in, and I think he's just with us.
Hey, guys! They really didn't tell me to introduce you, but there it is.
Yeah, I think there's a call coming in. I think it's just Spector. And I think the entire Spector is in one room. This is just fantastic. One visual. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hi. And you got Maisie.
Yay!
Even Maisie's in the house. So how are you doing, guys?
We're doing great. We're happy to be here and supporting your show, Oscar, and our dear friend Craig.
Thank you so much. We were just talking that it takes all these amount of people to create this wonderful production. Can you walk us through the preliminary process of getting this set?
Yeah, actually, as Craig said, I was here at the time the cavalry came home. Wait, how do you say it, Craig? You say it.
I said you rode the posse home.
Ira the Passion. So by the time I arrived, there had been already two other general directors that had been involved with this piece. And in all humility, I just acknowledge that Craig and his work, and Stephen, and of course Christy and Mel and Fenlon, it was their vision that was the through line of all of that. And I got to be here at the end to make sure that we could get this production on stage in its first, but not its last season. And it was just a real thrill to be able to be part of seeing this production come to life. Of course, Ed was deeply involved with our production team in making his visual reality come to life on the stage. And on our side of things, we were able to add the feature of this enormous 1,300 square foot LED video wall, which was, just something of a fantasy world for people in our kind of work, to help, again, to help bring Ed's work to life, but also the story of Riders of the Purple Stage to life. So just it was one of the most exhilarating artistic experiences, just to be a small part of that process.
This is incredible because, like I said, it takes a full village, quote unquote, to put this together. And I want to give a big shout out to Billy Joe and Judd Herberger for reasons that we all know. But can you, Joe, elaborate a little bit more about their inclusion in all this?
I remember one of the first times our family was at Billy Joe and Judd's place. And I remember Judd pulling us aside and saying, and this was with regard to their investment in this opera. Can you imagine having the opportunity to be in the ground floor when the concept for Annie was being developed? And it was this wonderful idea that I think really rings true, that this was and is a great piece of American theater, and to be on the ground floor, to ride that elevator up, and to see this artistic achievement come to life, and to be part of it as major philanthropists, which of course they are. But I think Billy Joe and Judd only make those kinds of investments when they really believe in the work. And again, this is just part of the unbelievably humbling aspect of this job, because we simply couldn't do these kinds of pieces without folks like Billy Joe and Judd believing in all of us.
Correct. We need to have sponsors and people that believe in projects like this that clearly represents Arizona. Go ahead, Craig.
I need to actually make a shout out at this point to my friend Clint Borzoni, who who will do Arizona Opera's second world premiere. And I love that Arizona Opera is doing another world premiere, right?
Yeah. And not only are we doing another world premiere, but we're doing it on film. It will be our first motion picture adaptation, The Copper Queen, which is based on the haunting of the most famous haunting in Arizona, of the hotel of the same name in Bisbee, Arizona. Was supposed to open our season about 3 weeks ago. And because, of course, of COVID, we weren't able to be in the theater. But we still wanted to premiere Clint Borzoni's piece and John de los Santos' piece this year. And so we decided that we would adapt it for film. And we'll be shooting it in the beginning of the new year and releasing it this spring.
This is fantastic. It's like, give me more surprises, more art, give me more. We will support somehow. We'll find little coins here and there and send them to you, Joe Spector, just to keep these alive. So, I don't
all
know,
the coins, Oscar, all of them.
let me shake this to see if there's coins there. But let me ask you, who are you with right now? Seated, Mr. Joe Spector, from left to right. Introduce yourselves.
Well, let's see. I don't know if it's your left or my left. I'll start with my left. The queen of our crew, Kate.
Hello, Kate Keenan. How are you?
Fun evening, fun way to celebrate Craig, and it's wonderful to see you, Craig.
And this is our little one, Charlotte, our 9-year-old.
Hi.
And our big girl, Sophie, who's 12. And who also has appeared in one of Craig's other pieces that he's worked on with Stephen Mark Cohn, a musical called either Friedel or A Beautiful Place. But that's worth talking about, Craig. You should tell folks about that.
So this is a piece that I wrote with Steve after Writers, and
Okay.
Sophie has been in all of our workshops of it so far, and it was going along too. We got a nice little grant following the last one, and then COVID shut everything down.
Right.
So we're on hold with that. But it's the story. It's the true story of a woman who went to Theresienstadt. She was Jewish, and she was deported to Theresienstadt with her husband, and she was allowed to bring 100 pounds of her clothes or whatever with her, and she chose to bring art supplies because she knew that the children there should be taught art to imagine worlds different from the one they were in.
And what a parallel with today's world, right?
And when she passed, 25 years later, they found a suitcase with about 2,000 of the paintings of the children in it in Prague. And so that's what we're writing right now. And I'm writing that with Linda and Michael Grady.
So there is
Really
still
beautiful
production
piece.
going. Fantastic piece. Like we may be cooped up at home. Everyone are attending Zoom meetings and broadcasts like this, but the production keeps going. And I'm sorry, Sophie, for you, but there's always Zoom calls and calls on the phone and little videos that you can send me saying, "Hi, Oscar, this is what I'm doing today." But thank you to the Spectres for being with us today. But
Thank you, guys.
Love you
before I
guys.
let you go, I want to show you this wonderful picture from the previous gala that Kate and Craig of where like centerpiece or center part of the gala. So it was fantastic.
I was very proud of that. We had such fun.
That was amazing, Craig.
You guys are incredible. Thank you. And I hope, my dear Kate, that at some point we repeat a concert, a concerto with you and Maestro here.
Look at us.
That's
Was
so
a
sweet.
that was a fantastic concerto that we had the opportunity to attend. So thank you so much. Thank you to the two of you for all of what you do for the World of Art and the World of Opera in town. Thank you to the
Take care,
Spectres.
guys. Thanks for all you
Thank
do.
you.
Take
Everybody
care.
Thank you.
have happy dreams.
Thank you. Hey, happy pandemic evening to the ladies, to the girls too. It's past 9 p.m., but who cares? In my house, I used to stay up until like 11 p.m. when I was their age. But this was amazing. This was incredible just to know all the work that you have to put together to create something like this. I am fascinated with the website. So you told me to play. Let me see if I can do that because I need to showcase that. So let me see if I can find this. So tell me more. Let me see. Writers of the Pole Passage, new opera from Craig Bohmler. Oh my God, this is so great. Okay, I found it. But let me just go back to it because I would do all the production here as well. So writers of the, oh gosh, I missed it. You're gonna kill me here. Let's see. Let me see if I can do this. So that's the page, right? Am I wrong? I closed the page. Don't tell me close the page. Is this one the page that we're talking about? I believe it is. I lost you. I cannot hear you. Plug.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. Yes.
It's on our private chat page.
Private chat. So let me just go. So tell me.
The morning.
Perfect. While I do these, can you tell me how was the process, or if you can walk me through the process of getting Mel to be part of all this, the artist?
It was actually easy. When I talked to Christy, who was a very good friend of mine, is a very good friend of mine, but she was actually a rather new friend at the time. Her husband was really my friend, and I met her through him. And she said, when I was telling her about the project, she said, "There's an artist you will want to approach." And I said, "Well, of course, but how? There's no way I could get to him." She said, "No, but I can make a few phone calls," and she put me onto him. And I gave him a call and talked to him about the project. I said, "There's no production, there's no money, this is just a piece for love." And he goes, "I'm in." So
what?
You got to ask for what you want, Oscar. If you don't ask for what you want, you don't give people the opportunity to say no.
I need you in my life. I don't know what you just told him or what did you say, but this is fantastic. 'Cause I'm gonna do this. Can you come and help me? And you're like, okay, yes, for free. I mean, I mean, this is a huge production, and a lot
Well,
of people were
then
part of it.
once we produced, money changed hands. But up until then, in the initial stages, it was just people writing a piece for love.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to believe in the project, right? At the beginning, you have to
Yeah,
believe in the
of
project.
course.
I think I have this figured out. Let me see if we can listen to this wonderful aria.
Venters aria.
Oh, let me see. I messed it up because I do all the front of the house and back of the house production. But there's one little click that I have to make to in order to share this. So, um, is Mel with us? I haven't met him. I have not had the chance or the opportunity to meet him. Is Mel with us? Is he in Arizona?
Yes, he is. His studio's on around 10th Street and Thomas,
Oh my God,
Oak Street.
his production is incredible. So I think I have it, and you want me to play this aria,
Venters aria. Yeah,
enter
beautiful.
aria. Is it coming through?
The Deception Canyon, there's a valley there, rise like a flame right into the air. I swear I ain't seen anything as grand, sure as God had cast it with his hand. Could be there forever, never have to leave. Everywhere you look, anything you need. There's a cool, clear stream running underneath, a place to set and fish right from the shore. Right at the top of the valley is a big rock, just balancing on a tiny point. One little push could send it down, cause that whole damn mountainside to fall. But that ain't all. I met a girl out there on the stage, in the middle of nowhere. There she was, the prettiest thing I ever seen. And I don't know how it happened. Maybe God got this one right. But I gotta get back, she's waiting there.
So I just heard that
That
the sound is
river.
not good. So I am so sorry, but this is the only thing that this production doesn't have is just the sound situation. But Maestro, I tried. I wanted to
All
give you
good.
opportunity. It's all good. I will play. I will make sure to place in or to put on the blog the exact address so you can find, so the audience can find these wonderful aria and other ones that we have the opportunity to have on YouTube and listen to. So we are past our conversation, which we can pass if we want to, but I know that you have a lot of things to do and a lot of creativity to go through in your mind and create beautiful things. From the bottom of my heart, truly, Maestro, thank you.
Thank you so much, Oscar.
This was a fantastic evening, and I appreciate you. We appreciate you. And if you guys have any questions, you can send it to me. I make sure the Maestro gets them. Maestro Craig, I'm going to call you Maestro because that's how I was raised. That's what I learned when I was a kid. So thank you very much. We will see you soon.
All
Have a
right. See
great
you soon.
evening.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, ciao, ciao. Bye bye. So that was 1 hour with Maestro Craig Bohmler. It was fantastic, if you ask me. Very Arizona, true Arizona, part of our heritage in this beautiful state. And a very I'm very proud to say that I live in Arizona. I'm very proud to say that I love this state as well as I love my country, the country that opened arms to me. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all of our special guests tonight, including the Specters and Christine Adwell Ford. And we will see you next week. And check on my social media portals to see who is my next guest next week. Talk to you soon. Have a great pandemic evening, everyone. Bye.
Ship.